London Hot Radio. Some requests. Call, WhatsApp or SMS us on 0044 777 0603 264.
All right, welcome everyone back. DJ Temi on London Hot Radio. We have a fourth episode of podcast Females in the Mix, and today's special guest is Andrea Arundel that you can see on the screen right now. So welcome.
Hey!
So good to see you. Thank you for
Hi.
joining us on a short notice. And
That's
how
fine.
are you today?
I'm great. The weather doesn't look great, but I'm about to go out and tackle that and see what I find.
Right.
But yeah, it's good. Good day.
Yeah, I mean, spring getting better to London, I think, every day. So, to start off, could you introduce yourself? Tell us, I mean, you're a singer, songwriter, producer. Tell us what genres you work with. How did you all, how did it all started?
Okay, well, my name's Andrea Arundel. That's spelled Andriah, if anybody wants to look me up. I am a singer-songwriter. I've only recently got into production due to, learning. I had a course I was doing, which was a 3-year degree, ICMP. And it really helped me hone into, just kind of learning about production, so I could, just have that versatility to make my own music and not have to rely on producers. And, I would be able to really delve into what it is I want my music to sound like, as opposed to always constantly writing songs to people's beats and never really getting that sound that I really wanted. So so now I've gotten a little bit into that, and the music I'm making is great now because I have an, kind of idea of what I want to do. And so when you've got your total input into the song, then, it just magic comes out. So I've been singing professionally since I was 17, 18. Traveled the world, sang with some amazing artists, including Madonna.
Oh, wow.
A few studios. Yes, I'll just name one.
I won't name all of them.
Not famous around here, but just been trying, just a hustler, just trying to make it in this industry. But I've had my moments where I've been signed, and I've almost got quite there, but never really got there. But one thing I've learned over my 20-something career is that, you don't have to be famous or signed to have longevity in this industry. And there's other ways to make money and be sufficient and be happy and content. So that's where I'm at the minute. I'm making great songs that I want to make. And the fact that I'm doing that makes me happy, that I don't have to worry about what record label's going to like this, what song's going to hit here. I can just make the songs. And if one song hits, it just takes one song and it does well, then it's a bonus. But the key is to be happy with yourself, make the music you want to make. And we live in a great time now where social media, it just allows you to be open to all different types of music. You've got better chance of your music getting out there to the right people.
That's really nice to hear. So, are you you're doing music full time now? Like, how long did it take you since you started to kind of work it out to do it as your main career, or do you work as anything else? Or
well, when I was 17, it was once I finished college. Well, I did it all throughout college. So I was studying performing arts and things like that. I kind of just had this thing that I'm going to be successful in music. I'm going to make it. I don't need no other career. I'm going to make it. And so, I was traveling. Then I lived in America for 3 years, and I was doing some off-Broadway shows. I worked with some great choirs out there. Got to learn a lot about my vocals. So I kind of grew while I was living. I lived there for 3 years between 1999 to 2002. I was there, and I was just doing music. Almost got signed to Columbia Records. Then the ugly side of the business raised its head. Then I had to go and get into something else. And I guess through all of those little transitions through the years, you get to a point where you're like, I'm giving up. I can't be arsed. It's too much. And then you go away, and then a few years go by. Then you get yourself a normal 9-to-5 job, because you got to pay the bills. And then, because it's in you, when you're a singer and you're a musician, it's part of you. It's the DNA. So we're not doing it. You're not yourself, And for me, I was getting into depression because I'm not doing what it is I'm called to do. So then I'd go for a few years not doing anything. Then I'd be like, right, got to go back into it. meet the right people, go to the right agencies, then start working with all these different artists doing BVs. I thought if I try my hand that way, it would be a way for me to get in. So working with Madonna and then singing at the Music Hall of Fame with Aretha Franklin and Jamie Cullum, that was amazing. All those experiences have been great for me. So I did a few of those things and some X Factor finalists. I sang a few BVs for some of those. But then that got tiring. And so then I'd go into another job. So in between that time, I've always kind of juggled taking it full time. And then when it's not worked out, I've stopped, taken a break, gone into a normal 9-to-5 job. And then when I've decided, okay, I need to start again, I need to try, I've taken a break, let me try again. You go through that process. And I think what people don't realize, normal people don't realize that aren't in the music industry, they don't realize the time and effort that goes into putting your soul into your work. You're doing a whole album, and then the record label says, no, sorry, thank you for your 4 months of working on this 12 songs. But no, it's not good enough. It's not got that song. It's not quite there. It's not quite there. And when you hear that 4, 5, 6 times in 20 years, you just get to a point of, I can't be asked. I think I'll just stick to just being background. And I think that's what I've done. And here and there where I've needed to make money, I'll go into various different kind of jobs, retail, working with mental health people, things. That's the kind of work I've always been doing. But now I'm at a place where, you know, I've got experience under my belt. I know what I want, what I don't want, what I can take, you know, what's going to serve me, what's not going to serve me. And now I can just make music I enjoy. And I feel like if I hadn't had that experience, it wouldn't have built me up to have the thick skin that I have now. So I think I'm in a good place now musically, where I can just write what I want and, you know, get that one song and hope someone loves it and see what happens.
Right. I have so many questions with a lot of things that you just mentioned, which we'll get into shortly. Just to start off as well, I would like to share like a little fact. That's what I do, like kind of a little historical or like a study fact to just like kind of express why it's still important to talk about is today about like females in music and all that. Is just one study that UCC done around like 700 top songs on Billboard's year from 2012 to 2018, the like top 100 song charts. That came out that study showed that women take only 21% of all the artists, of which 12% is songwriters and 2.1% is the producers. So just like a little of the numbers, which was quite shocking. That
is quite shocking.
That even today we have so many underrepresentation as a female. So my first one of my questions would be, is that something you had to deal with throughout your career, like being as a female? Have you ever felt underrepresented, or in general?
I don't feel as a female I felt unrepresented. I always felt there was women out there that I could be proud of. When I saw Whitney, I knew at 10 years old I was going to be Whitney Houston. I knew it. That's it. That's the one. That's the singer of all time there. That's the best. And I said, I'm going to be her. I had Beyonce when I was 16. We were same age. I was like, yes, this girl's amazing. I've got all these women I can look up to. You know, I've got British artists. You've got Misha Paris. You've got Shola Rama. These were the people that were around when I was young. And I was like, I can do this. And now we can do it in Britain. But I felt as my race, as a black woman, I thought at 11, 12, 13 years old that, I've got a place here in this industry. There's a place for me. I don't have to work as hard as long as I've got the talent, work to the best of my ability in my talent and show what I've got, then everything's equal and I can make it. But I have felt that race has held me back. In certain parts of the industry, where they would hear a song and they'd be like, I love that song. I love that song. This guy, I think he had a couple of #1 hits one year. I think this was in 2000 and what year was it? 2008, around that time. And we sent him a song, the label I was signed to, independent label. And they will love this song, bring her down, come down. Yeah, we've had all these #1 hits. We like the song. We went down to the interview and he said, sorry, the song's not quite there. Then he took us to dinner and said, do you know what? If you was Amy Winehouse, I would have signed the song.
Oh wow.
But because, because we already have that, we've got the Beyoncés, we've got those kind of girls, we've got the Kelly Rowlands. We don't need that here. Don't need it.
Was this in
But what they
America
need,
or in
oh,
UK?
this was here. This was in
Okay.
UK. So as far as the record labels were concerned, in that time, it may be different now, but in that time,
Mm-hmm.
if you had a certain look, it was like, it's not really sellable. That doesn't sell. And so you hardly saw anybody that looked like me doing R&B music in the UK. You would see it overseas, and everyone just assumes, oh, it's diverse. You've got all these black famous artists, big rich people running things, but you're not seeing it here to the degree, to the same level as you'll see everything else. So as a woman, I never ever felt held back because I
Mm-hmm.
was always confident. I was always a confident girl from a young age. I was confident who I was. I can make it. No one's going to tell me no. But I feel like the race issue really knocked my confidence a lot in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I'm now at a stage where I'm okay with that. I'm not going to allow anybody to tell me no anymore, So
Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting. You said like you have obviously years of experience.
mhm.
Mentioning like artist image, artist brand outside of their music. Do you think like it increased the importance of it? Like, is it actually that important? Or like, we know like last few years like auto tunes and all these like young artists coming up that like their music is not really like the main point anymore. That like it has to do a lot of social media, a lot of your appearance, or
Yeah.
even like I don't know skin color, age. Is that like? Do you think the importance of it increased, or is that like was it?
It does. It's
Mm-hmm.
important now, and not that it's not even if it's wrong or if it's a right thing. It's just what the people want now. The young people coming up, there is a Instagram's taken over, and models and to look a certain way, and so when you're promoting your stuff, you now have to have a look. And it has to be a consistent look.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have blonde hair one day and make your career, and then tomorrow I want to have short hair. It kind of confuses people. You kind of have to have a look that kind of transcends when you're doing interviews. You have a certain look when you've got to have a certain gimmick in order for people to take you seriously. If
Mm-hmm.
you're not taking yourself seriously, if you don't know what you're doing, then you can't. No one's going to be able to buy into what you're selling if you're not convinced in what you're selling. You've got to make what you have look. I want to be part of that. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
indecisive, then people just go, oh, they don't know what they want.
Right.
And so for me, I've learned that. Yeah, I've learned that.
Mhm. It's a bit of a tricky question, maybe, but like, have you noticed, like, what do you think people want, especially these days? Like, what type of artists are we looking for, especially
From
in this?
my opinion, and from my opinion, and from what people have told me when I've asked, because I always like to ask for constructive criticism when it comes to me as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
and they have always said you need to be real. It's not about the song. It's not about what genre you're singing. It's not about this, or if you're black, or if you're white, or if it's whatever it is. If your song is real and you're singing real and you're coming from the heart, people are gonna tap into that. They got to see that you want it, that you're serious about what you're doing, and you can see it when somebody's not serious about their career. You can see right through it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's learning and has not got the experience, or they've not been through that pain to sing certain songs, but you're singing big songs, but we can see that you're 10, you've never had a boyfriend. That for me
Mm-hmm.
is going to shut me off. But that's just me. I'm old. I'm 40, so I'm getting old. So
That's
for me, I'm
not.
like, if you're 10 and you're 10, you know what I mean, in this
Yeah, yeah.
business,
Mm-hmm.
you as though there's
Yeah.
certain age group that, um but if I see a 10-year-old talking about, my man cheated on me, but your voice is amazing, I'm gonna shut off because I don't get it. But some people will get that. Some people will be into that. But for me, I know that songs that when I post songs, or if I'm testing out my fan base to see what people are into, what gets more likes. I have to try and test things now by what gets more likes and what I know, the kind of fan base, what they're into. I've seen that, they're into more of the stuff that where I'm singing real, and it's about the kind of, especially the 80s stuff that I'm into. That's so a part of my being. It's in my songs. You can hear it. It's in the way I dress. It's in the way I talk. So that's a part of me that they can connect with. And when someone can connect with you, then they'll buy into that. You've got them,
Yeah, so you mentioned 80s now. Also, you said that you studied performing arts. Like, is music is something that you realized you want to do at a really young age, or like why do you make music? Like, how did it all? Do you
Oh
remember the
wow.
earliest
Yes, I
memory of?
remember. I
Mm-hmm.
remember I was, how old was I? I think about 5. And me and my stepsister, we used to watch this group called Five Star. We was into the Jackson 5, but we were obsessed with Five Star. And they were a group back in the 80s that Pete Waterman had put together, and they were just amazing. They were like the British Jackson 5, but they were wicked. And we was obsessed. We would go to fan, and if I want to be Denise from Five Star. I'm going to be her. I'm going to be dancing. My dad got me into stage school. I started dancing from a young age. And that's when I found my love for singing. It was more the dancing I was good at. I really just kind of ran with the singing through the years. And then I think it's when I saw Michael Jackson's do the moonwalk on Motown 85, the reunion, when I think I was about 6 or 7. And I saw that and I said, yeah, this is my life. This is what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's always been there. I always knew that I was a very confident child. I was very, very confident child up until the age of 12. But then my dad got me a manager when I was 17, and my dad really tried to push me around that time. So and the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. That's great that you had a family support and all that.
Yeah, I did have that support at the time. It was great. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm. So you say you're a songwriter. Do you write your own songs, like, or?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I write my own songs. Some of the production I come up with myself, and and then and then obviously I'm not the greatest at production. So what I do is I go to a great producer and I'll say, "Here, this is what I came up with," and they're looking at me like, "What's up with those guitars? What's going on with this? You've not put this in the right place. Why is this faster than this?" I'm like, "All right, but that's your job to help me." Make me sound perfect. So that I would call myself more of a co-producer, because I just take my ideas
Mm-hmm.
and they bring it to life for me. And I'm working with some amazing producers. Mr. Juice Man is amazing. Mr. MC Juice Man, big him up. Lavoy Wilson, he's wicked. He's worked with a lot of greats. He's brilliant as well. And I've got a few more people that I'm working with. DJ Jason K, Top Buzz. They've been great. So I've got some great songs coming out, some trap stuff, some R&B mixed with some drum and bass. So it's all there.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be good.
Right, nice one. Sounds exciting. So just to like kind of throw back to a bit of a gender wise, you just mentioned a couple of like producers and stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know who mix and masters your song. Is it mostly men or females? Like, do you collab with any female artist, or how, like, throughout your
I've
career have you noticed
always
more men or women like in those
yeah.
sounding roles?
It's always mostly men that
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with. I worked with one woman producer who was brilliant. I think she's gone clean now. She might be signed and off, because I've not heard from her since. But Joe Perry, if she's listening, hey, haven't seen her in years. But she wrote one of my first songs. She, along with a guy named Judd Mahoney, they were amazing, amazing producers. She's probably one of my favorites, because I don't know a lot of producers, female producers,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always wanted to work with more, but they come very few and far between, and it's never stuck. But I've always wanted to kind of collab with some female producers, but they're
Mm-hmm.
hard to come by, I guess.
Do you think like there are known, or do we just don't know about them? Like.
I think we just don't know that about them, because
Mm-hmm.
there are a few out there. I think there was one I did reach out to years ago, about a good 8 years ago, but we kind of lost touch, and obviously I didn't have the money to pay for the production at the time. You've got to think about all of that when you're not signed. You've got to pay for these producers and things like this, and
Mm-hmm.
so it didn't quite work out. But I've not heard from that person since. I've not seen them around on social media, but they're out there. There's loads of them out there. There's loads of out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's just what comes up, and for me, I've just ended up working with a lot more male producers.
Mm-hmm.
come through, female producers, come through. If you want to work with me, please feel free to hit me up, please.
Yeah, exactly. I
I won't
always
say
wonder
no.
if like are we not interested in it, or like what, what's the deal? Like why why there's still like,
Interesting.
even female
Yeah.
artists still
Even
working
with
with men.
DJs like yourself, it's so amazing
Yeah.
to see this, and I
Mhm.
love it, and I'm all for it. That's why I was all up for doing this interview. I'm just like, this is great. I love it.
Yeah, no,
Female
exactly.
DJ doing her thing and running her own show on here. That's great. I think it's
Yeah, no,
brilliant.
that's what I notice a lot of. Like, I mean, I'm guilty, I guess, of this as well, but it's like men collaborating with men and then women also collaborating with men. So it's like
Yeah.
we're not helping here. But also another question about songwriting. What would be the occurring themes that are mostly in your songs, or like has it changed throughout the years, or do you have like one topic, one like how do you mostly have? What is the process of you creating a song?
Um, I think when I first started, I would just write about songs, things that I was going through at the time. And when you're young, you're just talking about boys and why don't they like you? And and you constantly chasing a boy and you're like, what kind of song lyrics are these? But as you get older and experience things, your songs get a little bit more mature. And there's been times I've written songs and they've been like, oh, these are a bit too serious, these words are a little bit too dark and things are a little bit too this, too lovey-dovey and talking about, breaking ups and cheating, and it goes too dark. And I had to tone that and kind of find the balance. And now I'm really not into all of that lovey-dovey stuff. I'm doing a lot more real stuff. I'm talking about my life, my my just I don't want to go into too much of it, but I'm going to places that start conversations.
Mhm.
I think one of my songs is about sexual abuse, um, particularly in the music industry, and with young people, and I'm also talking about fathers that leave their kids to be raised
Mhm.
without them, to leave their kids and just say thank you, goodbye, that was fun, but I think I'll have nothing to do with you. Things
Mhm.
like that I'm going into, and I'm also talking about my experiences with relationships and
Mhm.
whether they've been good or bad. And I think people can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's very important we have the courage to discuss it. I think we really need to talk about it because for years we've been asked I mean to stay quiet on certain topics, and especially
Yeah.
you mentioned I know it's a bit of a sensitive topic, but if you could share just a bit about like the sexual abuse in music industry or anything about music industry of like of the hardships, because obviously we know it's everyone's dream jobs, but
Mm-hmm.
what made you write that song? Like, is there any examples that you could?
I'll give one example because I don't
Mhm.
like to go into it too much. I like people to make up their own minds with the songs. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily because I'm trying to air out my business or get sympathy or anything, garner any sympathy like that. Not at
Of
all.
course.
What I'm trying to do is highlight a situation that I feel is not really addressed,
Mhm.
and people's experiences that I've heard about, my experiences, and just stuff I've seen on TV. What sparked me to write about the sexual abuse one was when I saw the surviving R. Kelly alleged
Mhm.
um, allegations against him from some of the young people. And in watching that, I remembered some moments in my life when I was going to hotels at 14 round the corner from my school, because I went to North Westminster School, which was in Edgware Road. And all the R&B singers at the time, Jodeci, R. Kelly, who else was there? Keith Sweat, Brandy, everyone was staying at the London Metropole. So after at lunchtime, we would all run to this hotel. One day we saw some people, and my friends were like, my friend can sing, she can sing, she's wicked, let her sing this
Mhm.
Faith Evans song, she can sing. And so they would like that, and they'd be like, oh, come to the hotel, come and see us later. But my dad, being who he is, you're not going to no evening, you're not going to no hotels to see anybody to sing. But why? They're fine, they're just these amazing artists. And I remember being 14 and thinking it was okay to just
Mhm.
have these big grown men talking to me and not thinking it was a big deal. And these men were probably 27, and I I kind of had a situation where, you know, that could have been me had I not had the parent that could see that. If you go to that hotel, it's not going to be plain sailing and they're just going to give you a record deal. They want you to do a demo, give it to them, and then they're telling you to come back later to see these artists. But I'm not going to name names of what artist it was because I'm not into that. But I'm just saying it was big enough artists that had I gone there, I could have been on Surviving something. So for me, I chose no. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. I now know that at that time I was a young person and I could have been abused had I allowed myself to stay in that. I've seen sides of the business that potentially could have allowed me to go into a place like that. And when I was 19 and I moved to New York, I almost got a record deal with Columbia and was not given the deal because I wouldn't do certain sexual things to get that deal, which I won't name any names with that. So because of that, that really knocked my confidence because it's almost like you question yourself, is this what I have to do to be in this industry?
Exactly.
Do I need to I'm 19, this person's in his 30s. And he's telling me, I've got songs upstairs. If you just come up and listen to these songs, you get to write for all these great artists. Jessica Simpson, he named. You get to write for these great singers that are out right now. Come up here. I just need to show you some stuff. And then you get faced with what it is they actually need you to do for this.
Exactly.
And I just thought, no, thank you. I'm out. I'll do it a different way. And it's never quite happened, but you know, I knew who I was, and I knew that I was better than that, and I didn't need to do that to get what I need. I didn't need to sell my soul, and those are the kind of lyrics I use in my song. You know, about, you know, going, you know, being 18, suitcase full of fears. You know, I gave into the lies of a stranger. You know, it's like he knew her hopes. You know, but you know, she made a real bad deal. You know, she sold her soul and now she's no longer mother's joy, basically. And so when I'm speaking about that, I'm talking about the experience of being there, and you know, everybody, the sharks can smell the blood. They can see that she's hungry. She's from the UK. She wants to make it. You know, she's some sort of pretty, that they said at the time. She's so got very pretty, beautiful, stunning face, gorgeous. And so they suck you in and they tell you what, you know, you want to hear. You want to be the next, you know, Beyonce or you know, Brandy or whoever people I've mentioned before. These are people I looked up to at the time. And you want to be that, but you know, obviously, you know, someone says you have to do X, Y, and Z to get to that point. So I said no, and here we are.
No, exactly. You know, that's one of the things that I think. I mean, pedophilia in the music industry, that's the whole different topic. Why are all celebrities dating underage girls? And I mean, that's like a whole different thing. But that's what I also think about. You know, early upcoming female artists, or in general. Do you think the male artists get the same attention about, like, I mean, your body has to look a certain way, or like maybe you should do a photo shoot in a certain.
I think they get it as well. I wouldn't like to comment on whether they get it worse than us, because I have heard some stories where there's been some serious rampant sexual abuse towards men in the music industry. Stories that are in the papers that you can find if you Google them, certain stories about certain big executives in the industry, you know, just with a whole ring of young boys who they'd signed and was doing well, and you're going to their concerts and you know, you see the girls and they're flinging panties at them and all for, we love you, and they're behind closed doors, they're going through all this other stuff. They're being sexually abused. And there's some stories that have come out. You can check Google for it, but there's been some really bad stories there. Probably some of the worst I've heard.
Oh wow.
But you know, they don't come to light. They don't come to light. And I think what it is why probably people will see that the women go for it more is because the men are scared to talk. Sometimes they may find the stigma in speaking. If they say this happened to them, then, somebody might just say, oh, okay, well, start accusing them of things that they're not ready to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with women, it's a lot easier for us to speak up and say, look, this happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not naming names, but this is how I feel. And we can kind of be a little bit more sympathetic in society. Whereas with the men, they're like, I'm not saying nothing. It might affect my career. It might affect this. It might
No, but I
affect that.
think, I mean,
So many
females also has
factors.
a history of the same things of like
I agree.
how many not accidents not being reported for the same reasons. I believe. I think
Exactly.
in being in males probably even more. I guess we hear like 1% of what's actually happened. In females a
Yeah,
bit more, but
exactly.
in
Yeah.
general, I think
It's a
it is
hard one,
still
but I
yeah.
think it happens across. It's not just women.
Mm-hmm.
It happens across the board. There's so many things coming out, and for me, I was just at a point in my life when I've gone, no, this has affected me. I'm going to, acknowledge that it has affected me in this
Mm-hmm.
industry, and probably has affected me in, probably not getting signed as quick as I would have liked to. But for me, I'm in a better place now, to a point where I'm strong enough that I can bring these things to light and speak about them in my songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I take that as a positive thing, because then with my music I can help somebody else, can help somebody. I can be an example for someone. Look, you're going to go into this industry, make sure you've done your homework, make sure your experience is your best friend. And when you know this industry, don't go in it expecting to get this great, it's going to be plain sailing. There is an ugly side, and you will see it.
Mm-hmm.
You will see the ugly side. It may not be that, but there is something ugly waiting for you, and you need to have a tough skin for it. So I'll always
Right.
tell people to gather experience, whether you go to a music school and learn about music business, college, anything. You don't just go in expecting this quick fix. It's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to have longevity, I'd say know yourself as an artist.
Right. So
Work on that, work on yourself.
mm-hmm. You mentioned a couple obstacles you had to go through. Do you have any tips of like for any young artists? How do you keep going, especially when you see this, when you have like this self doubts, when you're thinking if
Mm,
what is this industry really about, or hasn't there been anything particular that helped you to
mm.
keep on going and not to let things put you down?
Me, it's remembering that I am special. I am, I'm not perfect out here, but I'm worthy. Um, and sometimes in this industry, you're so caught up in, you're supposed to look good and look the part, and you're supposed to be skinny and have all these things, and and for me, I think I'm at a place now where experiences is key. Like I said, knowing who you are as a person, knowing that, being confident in your own talent. Everybody's talent is their talent, but no one can do what you do. I may not be Beyonce, but I can do what I do. I can't do what she can do. I'm sure there's some things that I can do that she can't do. You have to see things like that. And if you see yourself like that with all the setbacks, you're just going to keep going. You're just going to be keeping making those songs that you love. Think, knowing the kind of music you want to write, and being confident in what you're trying to sell to people. Never give that up. Don't stop for anyone. Always keep writing that music. You get a setback, great, cool. It happens. Everyone's been through setbacks. Even the best artists have been through setbacks. You know? So the key is to just keep going, just to keep going, keep writing your songs, and know who you are. That's the number one thing, and garner that experience so you can have a tough skin.
Yeah, I think that's what you mentioned. I think previous interviews also like a couple of females that already had conversations. Everyone mentioned that you really have to have like a tough skin, and that you either develop it through years, or I mean, I wonder how many people actually give up, because like I mean, even me like naturally. I think we're not all born like super fighters, like we're ready to stand for
Yeah,
ourselves. Like it
exactly.
gets scary sometimes. It gets,
Yeah,
especially if you're like
you
in a
will
different
hit bumps in the
country
road.
alone, if
That's
you're
the thing.
young.
Exactly. You do hit the bumps. They're gonna come. You're gonna get to a point where you're like, this is not my life. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
But you for me, it's in me. From my experience, it's in me. When you know it's in you, that's part of who you are. You're not going to give it up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what anybody tells you. You're always going to and perfect your craft. Somebody tells you that you can change this, take that. Take the good from it. Try it. Try this. Let me take the good bits out of what they're saying. I'm not going to take all the advice, but let me take the constructive stuff out of what they're saying. Maybe I need to really just home in on my image a little bit. Maybe I need to be a lot more confident with the kind of songs I'm putting forward. No, you have to have that. There can't be any doubt in yourself at all. Because if you're not gonna love your stuff, how the hell is anybody else gonna love the stuff? No.
Yeah, and also coming back slightly to the dark side. I mean, you mentioned R. Kelly, Surviving R. Kelly. I watched the documentary as well. I mean, it was kind of surprising, but also not really. I think there's another one about like Michael Jackson or so, which I haven't seen. But there's quite a few of these that we are not 100% sure how much is maybe scripted.
Yeah. I plead the fifth with the Michael Jackson, because that is one of my idols, and I'm never going to agree with what they say about him.
Yeah,
and
that's
people may
the
not like me
thing.
for that, but I'm never going to believe that. There's so many holes in that story. But yeah, it's sad to see. Bill Cosby, it's, you know, there's just so many things going on across the industries, the music industry, the acting world. It's everywhere. It's not just in those fields, but you know, everybody has a view of these. Oh my gosh, they're so amazing. They're rich, and they're, you know, it's the life of superstars, and you know, it's what dreams are made of. And you know, then people have to tell you this is what they had to do to get to the top, or this is what I had to do. And when I didn't do it, and then you're thinking, oh, why don't I see those people in movies anymore? Because they were blacklisted. That's why. Oh, why don't I see that singer singing anymore? What happened to her?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
there's
you find
actually,
out.
yeah, there's also quite a few that came up, I think, last year or this year even. There's one about Octavian. I don't know if you've seen about his girlfriend coming through saying about domestic abuse. And there, I remember there's a story about Chris Brown and Rihanna, I believe, a couple of years ago. There's another documentary that came out, I think, of, was it BBC iPlayer, about like women in industry, like more and more people coming, like kind of coming up with these stories.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder, like,
it's a shame. It's but you know, it's not something we've not seen. You know, people were marrying 14-year-olds, marrying their 14-year-old fan back in the 60s, and we were like, great, this is fabulous.
Age
We
is
love their
nothing but a
music,
number.
right? That's what I'm saying. Age is nothing but when I was 14, and I saw certain people dating young girls that were singers, I was like, this is fine. Age ain't nothing but a number. And then when you get older, you're like, wow, I was 14 thinking age ain't nothing but a number.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, I would never ever allow my 14-year-old girl to be anywhere around those kind of circles, hotels, sending their songs to the artists. I'll be like, get your.
Yeah.
So it was a different time. It was a different time.
So you say you started like 27 years ago, and it was the same. Like, we're just, maybe now we're filming things.
Yes,
I think it was same with like the Black Lives Matter movement, and it's saying that like it's always been the same people just filming.
It's always
now.
been there. I remember the Rodney King. I remember the Rodney King beating in the 90s. To me, that's the same thing. To me, that's, you know, some people might think we're being insensitive, but it's like, I see this all the time. Never acquittal. Like, I've not even been watching the George Floyd case because I'm just like, I'm not even going to be expecting him to be found guilty. So if I don't expect it, I don't have to be too stressed. This is what it's been like for us since the beginning of time, and it's still the same way. Nothing's changed really. It's a shame. It's a shame.
A bit of a hard question, but do you have any ideas of how, like, any ideas at all of how we could make it better, maybe for women in music industry or even racism, like any of these topics? Like, have you ever thought of anything that you think we like should do differently from what we're doing now?
Learning. Just need to unlearn in whatever way that means. Unlearn is the word. People need to figure out what that is. You need to unlearn. People need to unlearn. People need to get uncomfortable and check their establishments and their viewpoints and what they think sells more than what, and if we sign more of this specific look, then it's going to sell the R&B more, but if we sell this, then it's not going to sell more. So you know, there has to be and the unlearning is very hard for someone to do. And all you've been raised is to be of a certain privilege mindset, and then now you have to go, oh, actually I do care, because if it doesn't affect you, you're not going to change it. The people in the corporate positions high up don't always look like me, so that's a very hard one. I don't think it will happen, but we'll see. I'm open.
No,
I have faith in the next generation.
Yeah.
I have faith.
I think a lot of things always like kind of drags back to money, and that, I mean, if you know, all the positions are taken by like white men, and I mean in general whatever, like, are they actually willing to step down if they're seeing that their corporation is not doing right? And yeah, it really takes up to the whole career, and but yeah, next generation, we do have.
We
hopefully.
do. It's them. They'll hopefully they'll get it right.
Also, another, like, kind of from what we just spoke a minute ago about female, like young female artists getting attention for their music, but kind of not necessarily only for their music. So just like from your experience, have you ever like noticed that people are either offering you deals or offering you some sort of brands, not because they like your song, but maybe like, I don't know,
you look good? Yeah, most of the time I think, I don't know, I feel that when I post music, or if I try to promote my music, it won't get as much likes as if I've got a bit of cleavage showing, or you know, I'm leaning over in a picture, and I'm, you know, that will get 300 likes, 400 views, 500 to 1,000 views, and then you post your songs, and you probably only get a couple of shares and things like that. That's for me, someone who's not famous. I'm sure people get like 200,000 views, which is not a lot for them, but for me, that would be great. Yeah, I do. It does help when I've posted stuff with myself looking all made up, or a professional picture of myself, and then I'm promoting my songs. That will get more likes than if I'm just promoting outright just the music side of things. Which I feel has to change, and I'm not really quite sure if that's an algorithm thing, or if that's just what it is out there, what people want, what they want to see. I'm figuring it out.
Finding the right mastering for your song to a professional commercial standard. New Balance Studios, London.
Whoops, so sorry, I didn't even notice there was a
We out of time.
No, yeah, I mean, I just cut it off because I really like, I mean, I'm really having a interesting conversation. Well, we're gonna have like a couple more questions left, and I'll let you go in 10 minutes or so. But just, yeah, I didn't even notice, like, yeah, it's already 3 p.m. Anyway, one of the questions, yeah, I mean, I wanted to say that I really can relate to the social media thing, because I mean, from my personally as well, I had to make I mean, I have my DJing account as a separate account that I try not to post even any selfies, anything. But even, yeah, like even in my DJ account, if I posted like a cute reel of me DJing, like I get so much more likes than posting like an hour mix that I've been working on, I've been planning in SoundCloud. I might have like 10 views, like 10 listens, but then, yeah, and the personal account is the same. Like I noticed like a good quality, kind of sexy-ish picture gets so much more likes than something you actually been working on.
Amazing. It's amazing how it works. It really is amazing. But you know, it does sell. It sells. You know.
Yeah, it's almost like should we? It's like, should we work on projects?
It's hard, isn't it?
Or should we just...
It's so hard, isn't it? We're in a dilemma here, because you know, in one breath we're talking about, you know, the equality of women and to be respected in this business and things like this, and then in the next breath we've got to do certain things in order to allure people to play our songs and listen and get them to buy into the product we're selling. So it's a very fine line. It's just finding that balance of knowing who you are, give yourself a little bit, but not too much. Go all the way over.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, should we work on projects for months, or should we just put makeup every day and take nice selfies?
That's it. Oh, that's it. That's the new world. That's they're telling me. But
Mm.
I'm gonna keep trying. You know.
Yeah,
And
same here actually. A
I'm gonna
little
keep
note,
trying.
yeah, just a little like side note what I just felt like I've noticed a couple of occasions like recently on Instagram, especially from my like DJing page where I only follow like artists and singers and all that. Some female artists, maybe like a little tip for female artists, but like sometimes I go on female artists and I can't really tell, like I kind of know that they're an artist, but from their page I
Yeah,
can't really say like do you sing, do you play, like are you producer?
yeah.
Because it's only like cute pictures and like you need to kind of tell us what
Shows
you
that
do.
you've got some product. But I've noticed that once I started to just go fully with my music page and make everything a certain way, websites, things like that, it does attract people that, you know, will now go, I want to work with you. How much is it to hire you? Things like that. When your stuff looks together, people can buy into it. But if it just looks like there's a lot of indecisive and you're just looking for attention, if it feels like it's attention seeking,
Mm-hmm.
people can kind of shut off and it's finding the balance really,
Mm-hmm.
which is hard, but you know, we're all still learning. It's a
Right.
process. It's a process. It's a process.
Right. And could you share anything like that you learned either social media or marketing ways or in general any like secret tips that worked best for you that you noticed as an to promote your music or yourself as an artist?
You may have to pay some some money for some
Mm-hmm.
things from my experience.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to get your stuff pushed a certain way, you have to plug yourself into the right people, send those 100 emails, or you know, to try and get featured on certain sites, certain big music sites, to get them, you know, to premiere your stuff, to promote your stuff, things like that. There is a lot of time and effort into it. It's not just a few clicks on Instagram, and a few clicks on your Facebook. There is a work to it. There's no easy fix at all. So there is no secret ingredient here. The ingredient is to be dedicated. This is what you love to do, then you put your time and effort into it. You may need to put some money in mine to go in your pocket
Mm-hmm.
and to push yourself. Just connect with the right people. Have your press kit, have everything together. You know, we get really good portfolio of pictures, good portfolio of music. Get the right PR people. That's not always easy. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, you just try different things. You just have to try different things.
Mm-hmm.
No easy fix. You got to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be friendly. You've got to be good to work with. You can't have an attitude that you know it all. This is for young people.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it, and I have been that way when I was 17. I've had to learn the hard way because if people can't work with you, forget it, because it will travel like wildfire. That girl you worked with her, and she really, oh my gosh, you know that girl from yeah. It goes around. Before you know it, you go somewhere in Portsmouth, and they already know that. Sorry, I'm not letting you do no PA here because I heard you're hard to work with. I'm not paying for you. It
Right.
happens.
No, that's a
It
new one.
happens.
Yeah, it's interesting one to
So
share. Yeah.
make sure you're always humble. Be humble in this business. Yeah. No
Exactly.
one's better than anyone else. There's room for everybody. Everyone's just trying to make it. Let's support each other. And you know, the blessings will come.
Exactly,
You know?
yeah. I think one of
Blessings will
my
come.
favorite artists ever is just someone that like I know that they've done so much, but they're so like
Yeah,
down to earth. Cause I mean, if you do
yeah.
the work, like people will know you do the work. You don't need to like walk
Exactly.
around like, but
That's it.
you know,
You
I
don't
was
have
on
to,
BBC.
justify what you've done before. You know, I've noticed that in my life. I don't have to justify what I've done to you. I don't need to this. I will just let my talent speak for itself, let my experience speak for itself, and make sure that I'm always respectful of people. I make it a point to encourage people. That's what I want to be. I want to be that person that I would have liked to have had when I was a young person coming into this industry. I didn't
Mhm.
really feel I had that help.
Mhm.
So for me, I pride myself in being like that now. I'd
Mhm.
always tell young people, be friendly, be humble, and be dedicated. And there's room for everyone.
Right. That's really nice. And you also mentioned like quite a good tips of like a press kit and photo shoots. And do you have a team that you work with, or like what is your target audience and how do you work with your releases?
I think now the people I'm working with, like Top Buzz, Jason K, Mad P, and another guy, MC Juice Man, we are just putting out stuff, that's current trap music. A couple songs. We've got some drum and bass, and we've got an Afrobeat one that we're working on as well. So we're just trying to put out songs. I think right now they've got all the plugins, certain DJs they know, and they're good with that side. So they're trying to help me in terms of just trying to get my stuff circulated, get my name out there. And if a song sticks and it does well and it goes viral, then great. But I think we're just at that stage right now where, we're all getting older. We're all like in our 40s and 50s. And it's like, this is our last chance. Let's give it one last push. And I feel when you look at it from that way and you're not, are these going to be good? Are they going to sign it? Then you can just enjoy it and you have a good time. And I think that is what I'm surrounding myself with right now. Just great producers, good people, good energy, good vibes, and that know what sells and what doesn't sell, and you can just keep making different music. And I think for me, that's what I'm surrounding myself in. I'm basking myself in that right now. And I also have press kit stuff ready, because I done the training for all of that, so I'm really good with stuff like that. So that's in my corner. But I also invested in some pictures and artist pictures, really to promote myself. So it's good to have all that in together. So when you're going into your songs are going to come out, you've got your stuff ready, you just send that out, but make sure you're selling yourself. Don't just send it. There's a way to do it. So I feel I've got my soldiers in place, and I'm using a bit more of this in this day and age, and let's see what happens.
And you said
I think I'm going to be successful.
Sorry?
I think I'm going to be successful this time. I'm going to stay positive.
Exactly, yeah, just keep going. And you mentioned you had a manager since you were 17, so you still you always had someone to kind of help you. Or do you think like an artist alone could do it all itself?
You can do it on your own. I mean, you can do it on your own. You don't always need a manager, and that's for anybody who's worried. Oh, I don't have a manager. You don't have to have a manager these days. You don't have to have a record label to do what you want. Just surround yourself with great producers. Get to know people. Networking is key, and that's where the be nice comes into play as well. You have to be humble. Can't come. Well, I've been trying to make it for all these years, and I haven't. Look at all these. You can't do that. You have to just slow your roll a little bit, and humble yourself and let people come in and work with you. They might know more than you know. You may not know more than them. My battery is about to die on my computer, but so that's my advice. That's my advice.
Well, this has been really, really insightful, and thank you. I'm not gonna risk on your battery, but just the last words. Let us know where we can listen to you. Shout out yourself. Shout out anyone you want, and yeah, let us know where we can find you.
Hey, you can find me on Instagram, and Facebook, Twitter under Andrea Arindel, and that's spelled ANDRIAH. Arindel is spelled ARRINDELL on all social media platforms. I have a release coming out soon, which should be maybe between the 1st of May onwards. We're not quite sure yet, but I will let everybody know on my pages. So if you want to follow me, you can follow me there. And I want to big up my producers, Top Bars team, MC Juice Man, Jason K, and all that good stuff. And see you all soon on your radio.
All right. Thank you so much for joining. And yeah, I'll see
Thanks for having me, DJ. It was fun.